Hi all, a new day and new stories from Ocean Story. Just listen to this story. My husband does not like to talk about the fact that he was adopted at an early age. My husband's brother, they are both 31 years old. He was adopted at birth. My husband is younger and was not adopted by his parents. Their older sister is also a biological relative. Our families have been friends since childhood, so I always knew that Xavier was adopted. Xavier does not like to talk about being adopted as a child. He has never even been interested in knowing what he knows about his biological mom or dad. Xavier has many physical features in common with my husband and his parents. That's why no one ever questions whether he was adopted, because Xavier doesn't like the topic. No one ever brings it up. Not his friends, not his mom and dad. Everyone avoids the issue. Xavier met his wife when they were 21 years old. When they first started dating, she made a few comments about the similarities between siblings in the whole family, so it seemed that she didn't know he was adopted. I didn't say anything because it didn't seem like a big deal. And anyway, it's not my information to share. My wife and I, we are trying to get pregnant now. We went on a hike where it was just me and her, and she said that maybe the problem is not with our husbands. It's that we have some common genetics. I think, and I hope. I looked surprised when she said that. She asked me what that look meant, and instead of saying it was nothing, I told her that it was not my place to discuss it and she should talk to Xavier about it. After we got home, I got some angry messages from Xavier, as I expected, that I shouldn't have even mentioned it, that he was not biologically related to his family, and that his wife Sadie was upset. Sadie wrote to me that we all know that she didn't know that her husband was adopted. Now she is upset. She didn't say anything else. Later she said that she didn't care that he was adopted, but she felt like an idiot and deceived, that everyone knew about it except her, and that I should have told her about it years ago. My husband says I should have just stayed out of it and kept quiet, just go along with Sadie's assumption that it was a shared biological problem. Sadie is angry that no one told her, especially me. Since we are now friends, the husband's brother is furious because I told her his big secret. I feel like I'm being blamed for that I am keeping a secret that should never have been revealed in my life. Am I really that bad now? I didn't want to expose my relative's adoption, but I guess I felt backed into a corner where I can't think of anything to say except what I said. I will add a little. I thought that she had guessed it in the last 3 or 6 years because our husbands have an age difference of less than 4 months. So I also think I look surprised. Even the age difference is less than 4 months. Your Sadie doesn't know anything. Or did your husband and his brother lie to her about his birthday? She can't be that unaware. It's just hard for me to believe that. This is what happened. Ivy, a man should have told his wife the truth before they got married, or at least after a certain amount of time together. He doesn't have to tell the whole world, but the wife should know such things. I hope your Xavier will cool down and forgive you. Jace, that's it. Xavier and Sadie and your husband are blaming you for something. That is really Xavier's fault. I fully understand that. You are a private person and you don't want to discuss certain aspects of your life. But if you've been with someone for 6 years, you got married to him, and now you're trying to start a family with him, you need to tell him certain things as a sign of trust, that you trust him with this information. But also because this information has real consequences, and you have to be careful with your words and communication. Alexa, his wife should have known before, and you were right when you said it wasn't your place to tell her. Also, as an adopted person, I would be concerned about a medical history from the biological family. Who knows what they had and could have passed on to me. Bryson, it makes me wonder if her biological mother lied to her about something to cover it up. But was your biological child born out of wedlock? Could that be the reason why everyone looks similar and Xavier doesn't want to talk about it? Everyone knows that secrets can destroy trust, but revealing them can heal. Just a random thought and maybe too much TV in my life. He is not a bastard child. When I was a teenager, my future husband and I were looking for something in his dad's work, and by chance we found an adoption case. I'm ashamed to say that we read it. Both biological parents were listed there. We never told anyone, including Xavier. We never told anyone, including Xavier, that we had found and read the case. I still regret that. We looked into it and read everything written there. Now I want to tell a different story. My sister is 16 and I am 20. We attend the same voice class at a local college. The class requirement is to sing 6 times during the semester. My sister is incredibly shy. She sang all 6 times, but it was always on Zoom. For our teacher, I'll say a couple of things. No one knows I'm her sister. She was adopted when she was a child, and we look nothing alike. At the same time, she is the youngest in the class. Most of the people in the class are between 18 and 31 years old, so everyone babysits her a little bit. It's not surprising. Our aunt's daughter, Emery, is 23. She is also in the classroom. My mom asked Emery to look after my sister and make sure she was okay. Emery also drives my sister to and from class because I go with friends my own age. Emery babysits her a lot and almost all of her free time. She gives her candy and takes her to eat before school. She also makes sure that all the people are very kind to her. My sister was singing on Thursday while she was in the rehearsal room. Emery went around and told everyone that everyone should applaud her, no matter what she does. In general, regardless of how she sings, and to give only nice words, because she is scared and worried. Then my sister sang. It was terrible. She was looking down all the time and had her hands on her hips. The DJ had to restart the song 3 times for her. Sister, she was ahead of the music and missed half the notes all the time. Everyone applauded her except me. And then it was time for comments. I can't say I was rude. I just told her that the song needed more work. Maybe she should choose another song. She needs to calm down. Before she sang again, she burst into tears and was hysterical. Emery looked at me with a deadly look. I was now scared. Emery took her home earlier than planned, and when she returned to class, she took me aside and asked me, did I really make those comments? And if it was absolutely necessary, then it couldn't have waited until we were home, and she wouldn't be on stage in front of the class so as not to say bad things in front of them. I answered that I would say it to everyone that she doesn't get special treatment just because that she was afraid to speak or sing in front of people. It was honest and fair of me. When I got home, my mom and dad yelled at me for offending my sister. My mom said that she cried in her room for an hour after she got home. I don't think it was a big deal to make such a tragedy, but everyone else was crying. So I wanted to find out if I was the bad girl. Josephine, I teach theater at a university. Rule number 1 in my classroom, and in every theater class I've ever taken, you applaud everything, unless you are explicitly told not to applaud. To anyone, you have to honor the work every time, without fail. Feedback is maybe a different problem, but in my opinion, it seems to me that you've lost your way to intimidate your younger sister, not to offend her or to stimulate her growth. Jace, offer the same kind of constructive feedback you would give to another student. To other students usually give harsher feedback. To those who have spoken, or is that usually the teacher's job? In any case, in your opinion, it's up to someone to say. Emery is not doing your sister any favors though. You are much more of an assistant to her because you are related to her. Jose, an example of normal feedback should be something like, that was very brave of you. You were performing, and it was obvious that you were nervous. Next time, taking deep breaths before a performance might help you to cope with your nerves. I like everything about your voice. I think the song you say the title of showcased your voice more effectively than this song. That would be a great way to say it. Lydia, you can't justify rudeness and shit with words, but it's true. The rest of us learn polite communication in kindergarten. Be smarter and kinder, especially since this is your sister. Jace, come on. It doesn't cost anything to be polite, especially to those who seem to be just starting out, and it's important to them. She was trying to overcome her fear, and you made it even more awkward. Piper, people who are afraid of certain actions, they'd have to get into such situations to realize that there is nothing to be afraid of. You have showed her that when she tries, if she fails the first time, you will be there for her, to break her, not to push her to success in the future. My next story. My mom and dad got divorced 6 years ago. My parents have joint custody of me, half with my dad and half with my mom. I mostly live with my mom. I spend many weekends at my father's house. Especially at the beginning of summer, I often go there. I have my own room in my father's house. I am allowed to lock it when I am not there. I am not a little girl anymore to be forbidden. My father's wife also lives in my father's house. She is 28 years old. She has 2 growing children. These children came into my room and smashed some of my things. At the moment when she had just moved into the house, my dad changed the locks. He told her that she could not enter my room without my permission, and he bought me a lock with a key that only he has and me. My dad is now 49 years old. He seems to enjoy spending time with this woman and her children, but he still makes time for me and considers me his priority. When he bought a new computer, I took the old one away and he put it in my room. But there is one caveat. This woman likes to invite other mothers with children to play, as if there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe she and my dad will get married, and she will have every right to invite guests whenever she wants. My dad's girlfriend is causing me some problems. The problem is this: sometimes she expects me to watch the kids while she and her friends are sitting outside, drinking champagne or something. She even tried to leave them with me, and she would go to a nightly breakfast with her friends. It's not very nice, and I don't like it. My dad told her to stop it. He said it would be nice if I wanted to help, but I don't have to help her with the kids. So, yesterday and today, I had a day off from school, so I stayed with my dad for this long weekend. My mom was having a party at home, and I didn't want to go. I was in my room when I heard an intense knock on the door. She was there with her 3 children. She wants me to entertain them while she goes out with friends. I immediately say no, thank you. She started to insist and leaves the kids in my room. I have to tell her that I'm watching a movie, and there are a lot of scenes of violence and suffering. This movie is a little bloody, not super bloody. It's just not for children of that age. The movie starts with a nice feast, but the children are already bored because this is not a cartoon or a movie about superheroes. Just a few minutes later, a bloody massacre begins. The children run to their mother in a panic. She comes back into the room and yells at me for scaring the kids. She says that she will take my TV. I laughed and closed the door. She got mad and told my dad that I'm an asshole, not a child, and that my TV should go to the children's room. Of course, he didn't agree, but he talked to me and said that I could have handled it better. It's not that he was angry, but he was disappointed at that moment. Hunter, in situations where conflicts arise, it is very important to handle them maturely and respectfully. You may not feel comfortable dealing with your father's girlfriend's demands and reactions, but if you react with laughter and sarcasm, it can only make things worse. Instead, calmly explain your point of view and the boundaries, and if necessary, engage your father in a conversation to resolve the issue together. Finding constructive ways to express your concerns will help you maintain a positive relationship with your dad and his girlfriend while ensuring that your boundaries are respected. While it's understandable that your dad's girlfriend may want to help with childcare, she has no right to place this responsibility on you without your consent or willingness. It is important that your dad clearly defines boundaries and expectations for childcare responsibilities, making it clear that your primary role is not to babysit her children without prior arrangement. Neva, for using a scary movie to keep those kids away from my room. Your dad's partner is expecting a free babysitter when you're around them, so all in all, it was a good way to handle it, to avoid being a babysitter for the evening. For her and for your dad, you need to talk about the boundaries of what is acceptable and expectations from a blended family. The only person your dad should be disappointed in is himself for letting his girlfriend climb on your shoulders for so long. You are not a free babysitter, and you shouldn't be. Roman, dad's girlfriend, thinks she can force you by ignoring her and her husband's rejection. She's being too pushy. You did the smart thing with the movie, but ideally, you should have just said no and send her to her father and close your door. The more extraordinary solutions you find, the more likely it is that something will go wrong. But this woman will use the situation to prove her point. A story that really surprised me. I am 34 and infertile. My ex-husband and I tried everything to have children, but we were never able to get pregnant. He divorced me and later married a younger girl. She was able to give birth to his child. As I understand it, they are expecting another child. It hurts me terribly to see that someone else has what I could not. Sometimes I get disappointed in myself and in my family, who blame me for almost everything bad. I turn to my friends for support, especially my friend Madeleine. She's on the same infertility train as me, but she and her husband are now trying artificial insemination, hoping that it will work. Madeline asked me to help her pay for her upcoming series of procedures at the hospital. I agreed to write her a check for $13,000. I really wanted to help her. She gave me the money without any conditions. She received the check last week. She was very grateful for it and happier than ever. 2 days later, I received an unexpected message from our mutual friend Kaylee. She sent me a screenshot of a conversation she had with Madeline. It turns out that she and Madeline were talking about the next fertilization cycle. Madeline said she hoped the cycle would work. If it doesn't, she's going to give up. Then her husband will hardly want to be with her. She doesn't want to end up in a divorce. She wants her husband to marry someone younger and have a child with them while she is alone and without a family at 36, even though she is 34. In fact, I was stunned and insulted. I knew she meant me, but I didn't confront her. I just contacted my bank and canceled the check almost immediately. That evening, Madeline called to ask why I canceled the check. I told her everything I knew. She was furious, saying that she didn't mean it and that she thought it was some kind of a joke in a conversation with another friend, a joke between upset infertile women. The next day at lunchtime, she came with her husband, begging me to write another check. I refused them. An argument started and her husband thought I was not supporting her, as she had supported me in my struggle before. She left crying, and we haven't spoken since. Her husband constantly reminds me of this. He often says that Kaylee is a snake with a long tongue, reminds me of the date of my next cycle, saying that they can't get it after I took the money, which they should have paid for it then. Some of my friends think I'm too sensitive and harsh. Kaylee is on my side and tells me to just tell them to go to hell. But I feel so bad about it. What I did might just destroy our 17-year friendship. Maybe I shouldn't have canceled that stupid check, but I just felt so insulted by what she said about me and the way she basically made fun of my unfortunate circumstances behind the spear. Maybe she had done that before. Vivian, are you a woman? $13,000. No strings attached? Yes, I would have kissed your ass for years. You would be the godmother of my future child. I would wake up grateful for your existence every single day. I would send you to another friend. Parker, did she say that behind your back? I would have told her to go away and not even listen to her after she dared to say that. Madeline, she doesn't deserve your friendship, let alone your money. Ariana, she destroyed 17 years of friendship. She used you as an object for her bad jokes, even though she knew how hard it was for you. This woman has not taken any responsibility for her actions, and yet she and her partner are blaming Kaylee for something she said herself. Their behavior since then has shown no remorse, only mockery of you and your other friend, manipulation through guilt. How low and humiliating. Your friends can give you their money if they think you are too sensitive and harsh, but you're not. Abusers always blame the victim, and it seems like you know many of them. Everett, how many other people have heard these jokes? You'll never know for sure. Have they supported you in your struggle with money without strings attached? If so, I would advise you to return what they gave you. You should tell them that you are done with them. If they offered emotional support, not financial support, that's what they can expect from you in return. Axel, even if you turn around and write them another check for the round sum of $13,000, your friendship will be ruined forever. Just keep your money. You can make more, better friends. It sounds like Kaylee cared about you. I'm sure there are others who are not as two-faced as Madeline. Next story. My younger son is 23 years old, and my older son is 25. I have a good relationship with both of them. The older one is married, and his wife is pregnant. My two sons have good jobs, and each has his own house. The wife of one of my sons earns more money than he does. She is currently on maternity leave. My youngest son is a student and a teacher. He loves what he does, but it doesn't bring him much money, and it's hard for him. If he bought a house, the mortgage payment would be less than his rent, and he would accumulate equity. Although this is his dream, now he can't get approved because he doesn't have enough income, and he doesn't have enough savings for the down payment on top of the closing costs. As a mother, I told my son that I would be a guarantor for his loan because I know that he will be able to pay because he always pays his rent on time. His father also supported him, saying he would pay $10,000 for the first installment, leaving him maybe a few more thousand for the down payment and closing costs. My family thinks that I favor my younger son. When my older son and his wife bought a house, they did not receive any financial assistance from me. Unfortunately, this is true, but they easily got a loan. San did not need a guarantor because they had a double income. They had money saved for the down payment and closing costs, so they didn't need my help. I gave them antique cabinets that belonged to my mother. I also bought them a washer and dryer. I don't know how much the cabinets cost, but the washer and dryer cost more than $2,380. My family said I should divide the $10,000 and give half to my older son and his wife for a child, the remaining half to the younger one for the house and his needs. I remember how expensive babies are. I don't think they need this $5,000. My sister-in-law is going to open a savings account for the child's education when he or she is born, and I intend to make annual contributions every 6 months, which I think will be more useful in the long run, rather than a one-time gift of $5,000. That is not needed, which may be spent on children's toys or other unnecessary things. However, my own sister made me worry. She said that my decision could affect my relationships with my eldest son and future granddaughter. I don't really believe in the idea of justice for justice's sake. I believe that it is better to give what is needed, when it is needed, and not to constantly balance the books and pampering with unnecessary money. Do such actions make me a bad mother or grandmother? Xavier, please don't let anyone make you feel bad for helping your child. My parents helped each of their children. It was at different times and in different ways. I never took out a calculator to make sure that my brother or sister didn't get more than me. It's a stupid topic to count other people's money and the good of others. We are different people with different experiences in different situations. To be fair, it's really stupid. Ezekiel, I don't think it's fair to compare a 23-year-old with a 26-year-old. Was your older son in a much better position at 23, or is he doing well now because he worked hard and he did without outside help for 4 years? You need to talk to your eldest son and find out how he feels. Your family is not wrong in thinking that this can be seen as favoritism and caused problems for everyone. Sadie, that's exactly right. And why would your younger son buy now, especially if he's still a student? Shouldn't he wait until he gets his qualifications and gets a job? What happens if he can't find a job within commuting distance when he gets the qualification, or if a great opportunity arises in another city or country? Jameson, I don't think you as a community want to help your son. I think that settling down at 23 years old as a student is not necessarily, especially when he is still a student. It's not the best idea. He is still young. There is so much of the world in front of him, so much to see, and so much life to live. Maybe we should hold off on the offer for a couple of years. Maybe something will change globally.